Welcome to the San Antonio FC FanCast. I'm your host, Royce. With me today are my three cohorts, my three co-hosts. Let's go the regular diamond. We got Robert on first. Robert, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to stay cool in this heat, excessive heat. So hanging in there. Excited to be here. Let's talk some soccer.
Yeah, I'm in my garage, and I've had my AC in my garage going for about 30 minutes. It's still like 90 degrees in here. It's killer. Rafa on second base. How are you, Rafa? Rafa's on mute. I mean, the consummate professional.
Sore. Sore after Saturday. Trying to recover.
It's our star, dude.
Was it from taking out the piñata, the locomotive piñata, or what are you sore from?
With RC?
He's big time now. He's big time.
Yeah, seriously. I know. I'm surprised he's on the show. I'm surprised he's not getting endorsement deals. Harry's on third base. Harry, how are you?
I'm here. Nice and chilling. Had some internet issues, so kids home playing Xbox, wife on the TV. Me got TV with the Nuggets up 4, hoping to clinch tonight. So go Nuggets. Never thought I would see the Nuggets win a title, and they still may not. But unlike Spurs fans, the Nuggets have not had 20 years of great history. So
that's fair. The Avalanche just won a championship in last season.
Well, you got the Broncos that have won titles. How many have the Vikings won? Yeah, we'll get back to you.
I mean, sideswipe.
You're sidetracking it.
The Avalanche have won multiple titles.
Avalanche have won a couple, yeah.
The Rockies, well, they've been to the World Series and didn't work out very well.
No, that didn't.
But the Nuggets, this is their first time in the finals in 40 some years, I think, in the leagues, with the ABA, probably even more than that. But I remember listening to them on, I'm old enough to where in Western Colorado that you listened to AM radio when it was dark and cloudy and hoped you can pick up the coverage of the matches. And back in the Alex English, Kiki Vandeweghe, that era back in the 80s. And it was always the Spurs and the Lakers, and very similar to kind of what it's been recently. But the Nuggets, hey, they might be able to finish this off. But, as we've saw with the Heat, Ray Allen, in case they have a Ray Allen moment here, it's not over until
that's correct.
The clock hits 0. I know that as a partial Spurs fan, being in San Antonio 20 some years. So
yeah, that was scarring in 2013 for sure. I'll never forget.
They had the ropes up and the ropes came back down.
All right, well, let's move on into San Antonio FC things.
Titles with everything but our that's a fair comment as well.
Stan Kroenke can go kick rocks.
He's very popular in St. Louis, I heard as well.
Yeah, what he did to the city of St. Louis, he can kick rocks. Like
he is hated there.
The taxpayers.
He's not liked in Denver either. Let's be honest.
He's not liked anywhere because he's. Oh God!
You know what? He doesn't care. He just collects all that money. So.
You know who else doesn't like Stan Kroenke? Or the owners for the NFL that had to give him like $5 billion extra to build SoFi, and they already need to do upgrades to it, and it can't even house a World Cup final. So unbelievable.
I don't like the independent discipline panel. I'd liked them last week. When we did our show on Wednesday, we're like, hey, Stoneman got a suspension. Friday evening, Stoneman was in the lineup, and USL Championship slipped this in. They made an adjustment to the discipline report and did not make any notifications out to anybody. But due to an error in the IDB process, the suspension was overturned. No clue what the error was. Nothing from San Diego, nothing from San Antonio, nothing from the league outside of that one line, and Stoneman in the lineup.
Zero accountability, absolutely. And this is this is kind of our first experience with the new administration for USL, as they do have a new president. And hey, not looking great right off the bat. I don't know what this means. I don't know if it's because they got a yellow, they can't upgrade it to a red, which I have seen before, or if somebody just forgot to turn in their paperwork on time, which I've also seen before. Barcelona.
It sounds like La Liga
and Man United. Yeah, Man United's also guilty of it during the whole David De Gea saga. But yeah, this is Bush League. What am I going to tell you? It's Bush League. Dude kicked out. Very violent foul on Moabu. Deserved a straight red. Got a yellow. And he doesn't even serve the suspension that the league said, yeah, he deserves a suspension. It's Bush League. What am I going to tell you? Robert, how do you feel about it?
I mean, it's just like they're not very transparent with like what the process is, what the paperwork, what exactly the violation was. It screams like conspiracy theories. Like that's all that runs through your head is like, so like the $100 handshake, or did someone complain enough to have it overturned? I mean,
we know San Diego had to complain. We know San Diego had to complain about something. There's no question about it. It's as simple as that. They wouldn't have overturned. The only reason why they would have said, "Hey, the process was overturned," is if they appealed the suspension based on X.
It's just there's no context, no explanation, no understanding. Like it's like they're making it up on the fly. Like, and you win, and we're just here to like, okay. There's
nothing against Nate Miller and his spitting allegations either.
Yeah, we didn't hear about that.
From anywhere.
Make it up a completely nefarious lie about a team and just like, oh yeah, we'll sweep that under the rug. Yeah. Okay. Rafa, how do you feel about it?
This has Nate Miller all over. that little punk just crying all the time, crying to the league. He wants to have it his way because he knows that there's no other way to win a championship by just having the officials on his side. So it's just ridiculous, it's clear cut. You saw the foul. You saw how it was a dangerous foul too. That red should have stayed on there, but I don't know what the league is thinking. And I mean, I think San Antonio also really kind of needs to kind of push them a little bit and say, hey, give us a full reason why this was taken away.
It's not even a red. It's like the intent to injure. Like there was nothing. Yeah. Literally, like his intent was to hurt him. It wasn't anything like it wasn't a hard foul. It was an intent to injure. He literally, for whatever reason, figured like, let's do this.
And there was no remorse either. Like, that was the thing that got me. Okay, you went in for the hard foul. Let's say it kicked higher than what you anticipated. You don't just turn around and walk out and then taunt the San Antonio thing here. What press box is Matt in? Does anybody know what he's in the press box?
Is he in the? Does he want to get in on the show? Is he in the? What is it? The backstage or whatever?
No,
backstage?
nobody's here.
Is
press box Toyota code that he's in the send?
I mean, he got interviewed, so he's big time now. So maybe he's just telling us y'all suck, and I've moved beyond y'all.
I don't need. And he did it both on YouTube and Facebook. I didn't know what he meant by the Facebook comment. So then he did it again. So obviously he wants the attention.
Yeah, I guess he's better than us. I mean, what am I going to tell you? He's going full Nate Miller, and he's just letting us know he's better than us. How I feel about it, I think it's more what's the word I want? It's not nefarious. I just think it's completely it's a lack of responsibility on their part. I don't think it's necessarily nefarious. I don't think they're doing anything evil. I don't think there's any conspiracy about it. I just think they didn't do what they needed to do to make it happen, and it's more on their process. And like I said, this is kind of the first kind of major moment in this new administration where they actually had something to do. They had something to fill out. And they had a punishment to levy, and they messed it up. So I think it's just yeah, I don't think, I think this is a lesson learned from the league, but I think it's from a lack of understanding rather than, actually trying to be nefarious with this. But at the same time, learning moment, learn from it, league. This is a good league.
I just think the transparency was the big issue.
It doesn't help. That doesn't help either. And I'm not gonna argue with that. That's 100% it. But anyway, it is what it is. But what am I going to tell you? We'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully they lock it up, because right now it's pretty disappointing.
Do you think maybe for next year, maybe they need to install VAR for USL for stuff like this?
They do, but the cost, that's the issue. Like, it comes down to,
I mean,
I call BS on the cost.
It is.
Because you could have somebody watching the feed from Orlando, or pardon me, from XFL. Tampa, watching the ESPN Plus. Like, I know we're going to get to it. The offsides for El Paso's first goal. There's not clear. You don't see the two don't match up from where the ball kicks and when they receive it. We think he's offside. Of course, El Paso's like, no, hey, he was great. So there's not that clear evidence. On this one here, there was clear evidence of the foul. There's been clear evidence of other things to where they could go through and whistle down. Especially on red cards. To me, that's where they could look at it.
But that's the idea
goal
of that
scoring
process.
Opportunities where the ball goes into the goal. We've seen that once or twice. I don't think it was against us, but once or twice this year where a goal was scored and they didn't count it because it bounced right back out. So there's things that they could do. Is it perfect? No. But the big reason that I've heard the reason why they don't do it. And we'll use Vegas as an example.
I was about to say Vegas. Yeah, think of their camera angles when it's like this.
Is
when it's like you can't even see anything. Like, how can you render a judgment on that? It has to be even.
Why do you think USL lacks transparency across so many categories: appeal decisions, player wages, transfer fees, club revenue? Because nobody, I hate to say it, nobody really cares. Nobody pays attention outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, MLS doesn't really report it, unless they have to. They have transparency issue. It's just a U.S. soccer issue where, and to be fair, it's not just soccer here in the States. If the only reason why the NFL releases an injury reports for the gambling aspect, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't have it. And I know it wouldn't shock me if we start to see, especially if more states start to bring in gambling and it starts becoming more of an issue, or USL starts getting bet on, that you start to see a little bit more of those decisions where clubs have to announce injuries ahead of time. But to me, I hate to say it, nobody really cares. It's a harsh reality, but
yeah, there's no accountability. There's no
financial incentive is what you're saying. And hopefully that change. I mean, it's the same thing with hockey. Hockey, you get similar things from USL. You get the upper body injury, you get the lower body injury. Beyond that, you don't hear anything. If it's upper body in hockey, it's probably a concussion. So the same thing with baseball. Baseball is very much the same way, where it's, there's not a lot of transparency when it comes to especially umpiring and discipline. Same thing with NFL. The review system in the NFL, it's not great. Same thing in MLS. The review, not great. There's reviews in other leagues that's pretty darn good, and it's pretty transparent. Well, they'll go through it. If you've ever seen any of the professional cricket leagues, they bring you into the booth while the officials are talking about it. That's something that would take a lot of that question out of it. There's no real financial incentive to do that. The word I wanted earlier that I could not think of was incompetence. It's not a nefarious issue. I think it's just incompetence is why Stoneman was on the field. Anyway, that's not even a game that we had to deal with. There's a home run from Paul Goldschmidt for Cardinals to take the lead. That's quite nice. Let's go to El Paso at San Antonio. And let's talk about the injury list, the IL, which got shorter. Thank goodness.
A lot shorter.
So, yeah, got cut in half, really. You got Carter Manley back, full health, as well as Juan Carlos Sokar, 100% back to health, which is great to see. You still have David Loera with that shoulder injury from Nashville, and Isaiah Parker still out with that. I'm pretty sure it was a hamstring injury that he sustained against Vegas, if I'm correct, in Vegas. And then Tanny was out, as we all know, as we've talked about, for his red card suspension, which
double yellow.
Yeah, is a red card from a double yellow that will actually we'll touch on more later because we have a little bit more to talk about in this game that has to do with that. So let's move on to lineups.
So the lineup came out far. Manley went right into the starting lineup. Garcia, Tainer. So Tainer moves over to his preferred slot. Maloney, Abu, Gomez, Rita, Jorge, Justin, or JD, and Sam. On the bench, you had Mercado, Juan Carlos Ozakar, PC, Batista, Nacho, Pirano, and Hansen. So you had 6 starters on the bench.
And one thing definitely to keep in mind is that Batista has started and played in every single minute that the team has played this season. So a little bit of rest is nice. He's also on yellow card suspension watch. So this also helps him try to get through that. So kind of 2 things there. Let's swing it out to Rafa. Rafa, how do you feel about this lineup?
I think it's a good lineup, but I would make some changes. But I'll save that when we talk about Wednesday's game. But
okay.
But you saw it's what you kind of saw the last game minus, Manley coming in. Like I said, it's great to see him back. I know he had that little setback, but because Manley was very important for us last year, and it's good to see him, on the pitch.
Absolutely.
This is a 3-5-2, right?
Yes. Yeah, a 5-3-2 basically. 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 depending, but yeah, pretty much. I would agree.
So the lineup, as you can see on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, which if you can, please like and subscribe. It helps keep the algorithm up and highlights our show a little bit more easier for San Antonio fans and USL fans as well. So please like and subscribe both on YouTube and if you can on your podcasting platform. If they offer a rating, please like and subscribe on there as well. But
5 stars, please.
5 stars, yes. Far, Tainer, Garcia, Manley, the back 3. Gomez, Maloney on the wings. Abu, Fernandez, and Zuhair.
Hernandez.
Hernandez. And then Big Sam and JD up top. So pretty standard lineup at this point, right?
I would agree. I think the only difference is it's crazy to think that Sam's been on the bench because Tanny's kind of been out playing him a little bit, but hey, we're here. But yeah, it's typically Tanny and Dylan, and it just kind of seems like Dylan has chemistry with anybody on the field, which is insane. But it goes to show you, dude. Yeah, exactly. It goes to show you that earlier this season, when he wasn't on the field, we're a different team than him on the field. So let's go and hit those highlights, and let's go over some of the gameplay. And these highlights are brought to you by ESPN Plus, YouTube, USL Championship. Thank you, everybody.
There's a couple teams here that both want to end.
Field's not looking good.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. Is, yeah.
It was when Crystal Palace was here starting to
Oh, the linesman was really looking at the ball instead of looking at the offside.
Yep. Instead of the normal goal scoring play, as Puro SAFC puts it, that was just a straight in header. Back post, Mitch puts it in. And that was kind of created because the goalie was expecting it to come back across, and it did it. And he was completely out of position on that one as well.
And then,
yeah. So this is why so 2 things on this one. If you want to,
you can see Marcinez already got his arms up.
Yeah, because he's offside. So what happened on this one and why it's very obvious that he's offside. And I know people are going to be like, oh, the camera angle. No, what's going on is Maloney's been chasing him the whole way. Maloney's chasing and the whole back line stops. And when it stops, the guy is well beyond everybody. And Maloney is the only one that's behind him. There's no way he's onside. There is without a shadow of a doubt he is offside because he's being chased. It's Maloney wasn't just standing there and turned around. Maloney's been chasing him since the midfield. And the second thing is Jordan Favre just with a very atypical mistake there.
Robert and Rafi, I'm trying not to be too hard on Favre because I'm never played goalie, but as somebody that's not a goalie, when this happened, I was like, what the hell is Jordan Favre doing? So you guys need to explain to me why he's out that far. And I understand he misjudged it, through here. For me, I don't know why he was out there, if that makes sense.
It's almost like he initially felt that they were going to call it offsides, and all of a sudden then decided that he needs to make a reaction to the ball. And he's realizing right there at that point in time, like he's outside of his perimeter as far as touching the ball. So it's almost like, and then the hop got a hold of him and it just went over. That was kind of a misjudgment on his part, but like he's in the right spot at the right time because he beat the player to the ball. It's just he misjudged the hop, and then at that point he was a dead man.
And fair play to the El Paso player. He slotted in, wasn't an easy angle.
It was a really nice finish. Yeah, that was a really nice finish from that angle.
It's just a tough angle.
Fortunately, a little bit too far outside the box and got the best of him there.
10-point this pass. Towards back post. Headed out. Maloney's there to receive. Recycles service towards the six. Headed into the back of the net.
And let the offside ridiculousness begin. I lost count at 10 offside for San Antonio. How many were there, in fact? Let's go look at the stat because it was in.
This one, I think, was out of the two goals that were, this one was probably a little bit clearer on.
That one before that, though, like Dylan wasn't the offsides guy. If they're calling Sam, maybe, and someone else, but Dylan, he didn't seem offsides in that goal. The other two, maybe they made automatically raise the flag, but they didn't affect the player or anything, and he kind of raised the flag prematurely. But
there were two times that San Antonio FC. Oh, that's JD. What are you going to say on that one? Anyway, there are two times that SAFC was called offside that there's no way they were offside. Number one, we have a screenshot of it where Justin Dillon would have been one-on-one with the keeper, no guaranteeing he scores. But he is one-on-one with the keeper, and it's called offside. And there's no way he was offside. He was on the front shoulder of the defender, and he's staying there with his back to the goal. Ball gets through. JD turns and goes and gets called offside, not offside. And the second one was Sam later in this first half. He goes, or I'm sorry, it would have been the first half. He goes. And then he comes back on side and checks. And after he checks, the ball comes through, and then he runs, and the ref puts his flag up, not realizing that Sam had checked back and then come in at about 4 or 5 steps. So
we had 8 offsides.
We had 8 offsides, correct. That's what I was going to say. And how many did El Paso have? Anybody? Anybody? 0. Ridiculous, and they were not all offside, and that's kind of the aggrieved part, and we'll go into this later. We'll get through the game, but ridiculous. Anyway, let's continue this mistake by the holding midfielder for El Paso right there. Bad touch. JD gets a touch on it, somehow has eyes in the back of his head with a nice through ball to Sam, and Sam does what Sam does, and he slots it in for his 3rd goal of the season. I'm going to repeat that. His 3rd goal of the season. The Spurs normal radio play-by-play guy, his son was doing the play-by-play for the San Antonio FC broadcast, and he
how many of you expected that to be called offsides? I did.
Oh, 100%. I kept looking. I didn't even celebrate in the beginning. I looked at the linesman, and I was like, "Is he going to call it? Is he going to call it? No!" And then I picked up Rex.
Because that was the other side. The other side.
Well, that was
but he called some too. He called some too.
That was to our advantage, though. You see their goalie? He's almost like stop, and he paused. He's raising his hand, expecting it.
He was waiting for the offsides call.
Yeah. He literally was caught off balance. Like he stopped. He literally stopped. Watch their goalie. He's like, They're gonna call it. They've been doing it all game. He just got flat-footed.
You got to give it there with JD. He anticipated that run.
That's a ridiculous play by JD.
It was basically like a no-look pass there.
It's an insane play by JD. Being fouled.
He's not even looking.
Being fouled. It's back heel with his left foot right through to Sam. Ridiculous play.
First tonight, and it's a big one.
And that's why we missed him so much after the Loudon game for those few weeks he was out, because that's what he provides. Continue.
Hold on. I want to, because it's going to go to Lucho's goal, but there was something that, of course, USL does not show.
Oh, no way. I don't believe it. Was it Far clearing the ball and Lucho taking him out to no card? Or was it where Lucho got a yellow card when he should have gotten 2 in the same little instance for
leveling?
It would be that one. Where
leveling Gomez, yeah. He leveled him.
Ridiculous, man.
Minute was that? That was 45 plus 2 into the first half.
Yeah, no, Lucho should have gotten.
Lucho shouldn't have been in the game by the time.
At the minimum, Lucho should have had 3 yellow cards, if not 4, and the 4th one would have been the simulation. The 3rd, and honestly, 5 because of his celebration that somehow Tanny can tell you to shut up and walk away, and Lucho can do what he's going to do, and nothing. It's fine.
Boys being boys.
Ridiculous.
All right, I think this is where it was at here.
Well, let's see it.
Hold on. Let me get it.
So, real quick, I'm going to go into this. We'll go into those highlights in a little bit, but what I will say, I'll throw out some stats here. That San Antonio FC moves to 6-2-6 on the season with 24 points. This game ended up in a 2-2 draw as we're reviewing it. I'm sure you're well aware of what the score is there at home. The draw extends San Antonio's home unbeaten streak to 26 matches. Additionally, SAFC's unbeaten streak when scoring first moves to 54 consecutive matches. SAFC defender Carter Manley made his first start of the season after missing the team's first 13 matches of the USL Championship schedule. That's great to see. San Antonio scored within the first 4 minutes of the match for the 2nd straight match, marking the 7th time this season that SAFC has found the back of the net within the first quarter hour of a match. And continue.
All right, so here's where the player has just kicked the ball out. You can see that they're sizing it up. It's clearly out of bounds. Boom.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That should honestly, that should.
He makes no play for the ball.
Like flop.
And he's made of paper.
Dude, Yuma didn't play, but he sure as hell was inside a Lucho.
Yeah,
he's probably learned a lot from Yuma.
Literally, watch him hit Shannon.
And seriously, Loco, that goes out to you because you know I got to do a Yuma anytime El Paso San Antonio comes around.
He hit him, and he doesn't even look for the ball afterwards. It's not like he was even considering the ball. He hit him, and then walked away. Like the ball bounced like way far.
There's
away.
Sam. You come after me.
Yeah, come out. Do that shit to me. Yeah,
Sam
with the
tries to come up.
We're gonna go full major league on this one a couple times, but Sam does the Serrano. Bring that shit to me, man. Bring that shit to me.
Like, look at the ball. He doesn't even.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's almost.
It's once again
remorse. Leaning in.
No remorse.
He's leaning in with the shoulder. That's be automatic. That's automatic red. That's not even a play to the ball.
It's almost the same thing with Stoneman on Abu. Like, should the league look at this? It's not as egregious as a kick, but it's a shoulder and elbow to the back and nowhere near the ball.
I mean, if he runs it, he runs into Gomez, maybe he puts his 2 hands like that to kind of stall his momentum. That's understandable, but you can see that's clear intent. When you
and here he comes. So we get a taunting, 2nd yellow, and yeah. Katie's got it right. It's a red card. What did Mitch get a red card or yellow card for? He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
That guy flopped.
I think he got a yellow for Lucho flopping. I think the ref's like, I got to give a yellow for this. I'm going to give it to this guy. Wrong guy. That was simulation. Wrong guy.
It's dumb.
Unbelievable. It's fucking unbelievable. It's all it is. What are you going to say about that? It's unbelievable.
It's dumb. And
So,
if someone's eventually going to get hurt, it's ridiculous.
And then before this, even before this happens, after that happened, and before this happens, there is a 50-50 ball that Jordan Farr wins outside of his box, and Lucho goes sliding in and takes out Farr's shins from him and almost breaks his leg. A foul. It's only called a foul. The ball is gone. Lucho was sliding out of control and he injured Farr. Farr was down for a while, which I still don't understand why we only had 7 minutes at the end of this game. Anyway, let's continue. Took out Farr for a good 5 minutes as Farr recovered. Just a foul. That should have been easily a second yellow. Lucho should have been off for, like I said, 3 or 4 different times. And then this happens.
I will say the goal is world class, though. We know Lucho from his time
Lucho,
here.
It's Lucho being
world
Lucho.
Class.
Yeah, it's Lucho being Lucho. We know who he can be. Absolutely. And like, we don't not expect that from Lucho, but at the same time, if he deserves to be off the field and not even on the field at the time, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? He should, at this point, he should have 3 yellow cards. He has 1. But we've seen that. We saw that for, was it 2020 with us?
Mm-hmm.
And that's ball game. So.
Yep. So
this one hurt though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This one felt like a loss, and I know we're gonna get into this next.
This felt like we lost 2 points. Absolutely. I felt like it was 2 points taken from us.
Because we outplayed them.
100% we
outplayed them. And here's where we're going to kind of turn into, is Coach Marcina doing the right subs, putting the right lineups out there? Because we'll go Hernandez and Pirano. Hernandez has been playing better. Pirano was in there. He was in there for what, almost a half or 35 minutes. I watched the game at home, and I remember him having the ball once, maybe, of any significant time. So to me, I don't understand how Pirano fits in this system this year. Because it doesn't seem like San Antonio does a lot of the, like when it was him and Jose, the little one-on-one dribbles and get it in and then cross it in. This team at this point is not doing that. Now, I think the team is running at this time. The team is running a lot better with Hernandez in there than Pirano. But
I'll agree with you. But like, isn't there a thought to maybe like the management of minutes? Like, USL season's a grind. That's a long season,
but you gotta have some consistency though.
But if you don't manage minutes and you overwork some people, I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong in terms of, yes, he's been much better, like what he's been doing lately, absolutely better fit. But at the same time, you don't want to grind these players, like, because Marcina's system's known to do that. Look at the injury list; it's finally clean. And when's the last time we saw this? Like, he just maybe, not to say that we have to trust Marcina. In my mind, he's always shown that
he's earned it.
Yeah, he's earned it. So like, we just got to stay the course. In my mind, like, just continue to like. But you're not wrong. Hernandez lately has been shining way better and been fitting way better. And what he showed this game, he even showed a little bit of nasty. Go back to the Pop days
with the smile.
Yeah. So to me, I mean, he's being feisty, he's being physical, he's being defensive.
But it also comes into to me where I bring this up, and I think we see this, Hansen up top, because you need your forwards to be in form. And to me, Hansen earlier in the year when he was getting minutes, he was getting goals. And now we're starting to see like this game, and last couple of games he's had opportunities. And I don't know if it's just because he's not getting those consistent minutes, like I'm sure he expected when he came to San Antonio. It's just, to me, and it's one of those first world problems where hey, I'm complaining about having too good of talent on the bench. Where, if you go to RGV, they'd be like, hey, I'll welcome this any day. Don't get me wrong. But I do wonder if sometimes and you guys have said this 100 times, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And San Antonio is not peaking yet. You got to have concerns if you're an El Paso fan that, hey, maybe you're peaking a little bit or way too early because you're on a 9-game
Unbeaten.
nine game unbeaten streak. So you got, they did this last year, and then once it kind of caught up to them,
the train went off the tracks.
Like the switchbacks stumbling down the standings. So I understand. It's one of those things where I don't want to press the panic button by any means, but it's something that not being at the stadium, you get kind of a different view, a different feel of the game, and it just felt like the subs, because they're used to being starters. It just and El Paso's a class team. Let's be fair. They're a quality team. They're going to be top 4. They're going to be there when it comes playoff time. So to give them credit, but to me, it just felt like something was off with the substitutions. Whether it was Zohir coming out and PC coming on. Rita didn't like coming out. I know you kind of hinted maybe it's a minute thing with Toronto.
Montreal.
Pardon me.
Yeah, let's get that right.
The Canadian team.
Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. Yeah, let's. We don't want to mistake Montreal.
Here we go.
We don't want to.
Jose with the panic button.
Gordino knows.
Harry off the ledge.
Harry,
I guess we're in 3rd place.
Yeah, correct.
The sky's not falling,
and we are the best.
Remember last year we were in the same position last year, like in second behind Colorado, and then we finally made our move in July and August, and that's when we really turned it on. So, like I said, these teams are, like I said, they're peaking right now. Eventually, the injury bug is going to catch up to them. They may not have the same depth as we do, and it takes, like I said, look at Sacramento. I know they're still winning, but they lost their best player. Eventually, that's going to catch up to them. If they get another
Sacramento's
injury.
deep like we are, to be fair. So,
but that was a huge player that they lost, and that really. Yeah. I mean, that's like with us, maybe losing like
they lost their PC
or something. Yeah. So I think it's not really time to hit the panic button. I think it's.
And I'm not hitting the panic button. It's just you could sense some of the frustration, both in the stands, social media, and I know social media isn't a fair thing, but I think you could sense it a little bit on the players as well, where 99% of the time they're doing the right things. It's just that, it's like far coming out of the box. It was just an unfortunate thing, unlucky. We've been unlucky on back-to-back games where the calls haven't gone our way. Generally speaking, it'll even out, throughout the year, the laws of averages. But, for this homestand,
do you think it's like the last 3 years our expectations are higher though? We're a little spoiled. Yeah. If you think about like you think about the years past, like how many times I just begged to be in the playoffs, and we're always like the 9th team out of 8. so I mean, it's not a bad thing to have that much talent, and it's understandable. But
hey, Jose, we got Sunderland coming in. We got Sunderland coming into town. We got to have a decent field.
I think maybe you can kind of compare like with Louisville. How they have all the talent every year. Their expectations are always high and stuff. I think for us, we're trying to be that, kind of beat that standard, and we just have to, like I said, have patience and on this team. But like I said, also the games that we play, it's also the matchups. What players are the right matchup. I think Paso, they probably were fearful of Toronto, and they covered him good. They said, you know what, if we let him get the ball, he's gonna hurt us. And then, like I said, El Paso had no answer for Hernandez, so maybe you're right there, Harry. That maybe they should have kept them on a little bit longer, or play the full 90. But it's always gonna come down, like I said, to matchups. What how the other teams scout us and do their game plan. So, but we just, like I said, I think last year no one knew how to scout our team last year, and that's what we took advantage of a lot of those games. This year, I think they kind of see what we're doing, but we also have to reinvent ourselves. I think Marcina needs to kind of do that, kind of get away from that little bit of log, but I think we need to add a little bit more possession, be a little patient, send the long balls when we have 1v1s, when they're clear 1v1s attack. But I think we need to hold on to the ball a little bit more to set up play, and this is where Hernandez can really shine here, because he's going to be feeding the ball. Same thing with JD; he's going to be feeding balls. I think that's what we need to start doing from here on out.
I'm going to take a different tact on this. I think there is an issue with some of the subs. And I think this is going to be a learning process. So one of the things that really stood out to me, and it stood out to me for a few weeks, is that we normally, when we get toward, the 60th or the 70th minute, we'll take one of our big boppers off up top and we'll put a dribbler on. And kind of the issue with that is we already have a tired forward up there, and it's their job to hold the ball and to create space. And then you're going to try to have a guy dribble. In this game, we had Hansen come on and we had Pirano gone on, which Hansen just kept getting beat up, and hopefully his injury, he had to come off again. He was subbed in and he had to get subbed out.
And it had to be concussion related. And the reason why is we had 6 subs and 4 sub windows. So the only way that we could have done that is if it was a head injury with
I hope he's all right, because it didn't look good. But what I would like to see, the only change that I would like to see in the subs, and I think where we lose a little bit of it, like I said, if you want to bring Sam off, because I understand bring him off, he may be on a minutes limit. Also bring off JD and put on Nacho and Nico, or Nacho and Christian. Have Nacho create that space, because we've seen the service he provides. He'll be on the back shoulder of the center backs for the opposing team, and he'll win the headers, and he'll bring him back for whatever dribbler to win. So I think that would possibly help. It would be something to look at. I'm sitting here in my garage talking about the team. The guy's in charge of the team. He knows a lot more about them than I do. I'm just saying it's worth possibly to take a look, because it is kind of noticeable whenever you bring on 2 dribblers that the other team gets more of a high line to stop those dribblers, and then they do the counter press that we're used to doing. So we definitely have seen that. Pirano definitely needs some more playing time. Go ahead.
What about this comment? Marcin isn't sure the balance of the front line or how the players work together yet. Keeps taking off the focal point for runners when we're already struggling to feed them, which I think is what you're kind of talking about here.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And this, once again, this is a thing that it's a thing I've talked about in seasons previous, and this is the thing that we're always going to go with, is you have to find that chemistry. Players need more time on the field together to build that chemistry together, to know where one another is going to be. Case in point, JD backheeling with his left foot, eyes to the other goal, boom, straight to Sam for a goal. That only comes from chemistry. That only comes from being on the field together, knowing where each other are going to be. So that's just what we got to build up.
And Jose put a comment. Also, remember that summer transfers are usually a hit for us. Let's wait and see where could we use the reinforcements. I'm going to push back. I think they've already got the summer transfers in. I think this year we may see a transfer out.
Yeah.
Could
just
be.
Because or a
loan out, or transfer, or mutual decision, something to where, because there's a lot of talent that's not even in the 18.
Yeah.
That we have. So I don't know if, unless loans get recalled, I don't see us really making that big splash this summer. I think Marcina, and this is why we're probably still kind of struggling a little bit. They had the late build on the roster initially. They had all the injuries up front, as Royce has said, many times here. So they accelerated bringing in the transfers. So I don't expect, barring injuries or recalls of loans, I don't expect us to be super active this year.
I would have to agree. I think we got that bit of business done already in May and I guess April and May, and where we normally would be in July right now, which is good because now we can build that chemistry and we can get better. A lot of the teams like Sacramento, like you said, El Paso, they're peaking right now. We haven't peaked yet. And that should be scary for every other team in the league, that we have not peaked yet. And our potential is way up there. We'll peak later, as we normally do. This is what we normally discuss. July, August is typically when this team really comes together. And hopefully, the stars align again and we make that big playoff run. So let's get off of that. It's a draw. Feels like we lost 2 more points, but at the same time, it's a draw. So let's go over our mentality monster of the match.
I'll go first.
Harry, fire away.
So mine goes to the supporters. This is from San Antonio FC, with it being Pride Night. And I know San Antonio FC did a trying to blank. I want to say a cover story, but I know that's not the right word.
An expose.
An expose on it, on the lady behind it here. But I thought the supporters groups, Crocketeers, I know some from 210 and from
FTC
also helped, is my understanding here. But I thought that was beautiful. Well done.
Looks great. I love the Rainbow River Walk. That's really cool. Well, I mean, it's not the Rainbow River Walk. It's the LGBTQ plus AI plus. I got to get that right. That they added letter, and it's supposed to be a 2 at the end. It's always changing. I'm an old fart. Excuse me. I got to learn. I got to be better. LGBTQAI plus 2, right? Something like that. Anyway, that flag on the Riverwalk representing the water. It's great. So,
and Randy, to answer your question here, PC came on, so it's hard to say
PC.
It's hard to say you don't want to see PC on the pitch, but
it's a different dynamic. Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of the thing we're talking about. We'll get back to the Pride Night here in a second, but let's finish this thought real quick. I'll go around with the mentality monsters as well to finish up. But really quick to finish up that point. PC came from Burrito, which means you're going to be back more. So when you're back more, that's going to invite their back line to come up. So you need something to press their back line back where it was. So that's why you need a bigger, fresher guy with fresher legs up front. Like I said, a Nico and a Nacho partnership to sub out from whoever started would be perfect. You'd have fresh legs, you'd have speed, you have the physicality to hold up the ball. I think that's
what they did last year when
partnership.
Things settled down.
Correct.
They replaced the pair. You had the 2 that started, then you had Nacho and usually somebody else that came on here. And I think you could have Tani and Sam start, and then you could have JD and Nacho or JD and Hansen come on. For the second here. That's and to me that's the reason why I think that there's going to be a transfer. We've got 5 starting forwards right now, and that's why I think going back to Jose here. I think they're going to thin down the roster.
But at the same rate, I don't think so, because at the same rate, 2 of those guys are on loans, and you never know when they're going to get called back. So no, you need that cover. No one is getting transferred out.
I rather be a 3 forward front. I'd rather have JD in the middle, Sam on the one side, Tani on the other side. I think that's a more deadly combination there. And it also allows us to something that we're not doing is what we did last year is the high press. We killed teams last year with the press. And I think with those 3 up top, especially how you saw what JD did with those passes, I think he can have double-digit assists, passing the ball to Tani and Sam. And then when we do make a sub, if we have to sub out, we can always go back to maybe the 2 forwards or the 1 attacking man, go back to a 3-5-2 to defend. So I think he needs to be more aggressive. I need to go with a 3 forward front. Those are your 3 best forwards right now. You need to go within and do what needs to take to generate more goals.
But Robert, back to your mentality monsters of the match. Mine was the supporters group with the Pride Tifo.
Well, if you're talking person or mentality monster of the match, I'm going to stick with Hernandez. Like, for a little guy, he was a bit of a pitbull. He showed a little bit extra this last match. Not only like his skills and ability to distribute, but they had a little dog in him. He was mixing it up for a guy. That he got into it, and then I was telling Harry and Rafa earlier, like I was shocked the yellow card didn't come sooner. He was constantly in the mix. Anytime there was like a little bit of an altercation or some physical play, and he was in there holding his own. I was massively impressed, not only with the skills, but his ability to like hang in there and be physical and not get the yellow until late in the game. Like he was super impressive to me. I mean, if we're talking moment though, like I love the idea. I love the fact that as a team and as a family that like when Shannon got like just creamed, to see Sam, one of the most mild-mannered guys you can ever meet, go up and say, hit me next, and then Tanner stick up for him. You got to let them know that's not okay, you know? And they did it in the right way. I mean, they didn't make it more than it needed to be. They didn't lead to additional reds or suspensions, but they let them know that, hey, next time hit me. I'm here for you. Like, you know, to me, it's all about team, all about supporting and protecting your players, you know? Because it's going to come down to eventually someone's going to get hurt. And that's going to be the sad reality. If they continue to let this nonsense play out, I mean, someone's going to get hurt. And then what? We're going to look even more Bush League as a league. But
where's USL Players Association on this?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from them. And that's their job to protect the players. So that's great. Rafa, your mentality monster of the match.
I got to go with Hernandez as well. I mean, that was probably one of his best games. He's getting. I think maybe hanging out with PC is getting rubbing off a little bit on him, getting that little.
Yeah. A little Coach Pop nasty. Yeah.
A little chippy.
Yeah, it's getting a little chippy and a little squirrely, like what Far used to say. So he's my mentality monster. And then my moment had to be that pass by JD for that second goal. I mean, that it was like the no-look pass. I mean, that just shows how valuable JD is.
My bad.
As far as up front, just distributing balls to our forwards, to our attackers and so forth. So that's my moment of the match.
Yeah, that's a nice transition because my mentality monster of the match for sure is JD. Just hard-nosed, tough work, an incredible game from him, and we deserve those 3 points for sure. I will say about Jorge Hernandez that his assist on Tanner's goal in the 3rd minute was his first assist with SAFC, which is pretty crazy. First of many. Mitch Tanner's goal is his second of the season. Sam's go-ahead goal was his 3rd of the season and 15th with SAFC. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate that.
From the press box, Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt making the call.
Think you're better than me. Anyway, Sam's go-ahead goal was his 3rd of the season, 15th with SAFC overall, and JD's assist was his 2nd of the season, giving him 14 with SAFC to take sole possession of the club record. Justin Dillon previously tied with Christian Pirano with 13. So JD, assist master for SAFC all time. So there you go. Let's quickly touch up on and finish up Pride Night. I thought it was great. I thought what they implemented was awesome. The whole and one thing that I really do want to see SAFC continue to do that they've impressed me a couple times is when we went which game was it? There was face painters for the kids. It was like a kids night almost, and it was great. Rex really enjoyed it. He really had a good time. For Pride Night, behind the East stands, once again they were doing face painting. They're giving away the LGBTQ plus AI plus 2 flags. So it was really cool. And once again, it's the inclusivity of it all. That's all it means. Hey, you're different from me. Cool. You're invited. This is soccer. This is for everybody. That's all it means. We're not trying to say one person's better than the other. We're not trying to do anything ridiculous. All this means is you're different from I am. Awesome. You're also a human. I respect you as a human, and this game is open to everybody. So that's all it means. That's it. Harry, how'd you feel about the whole the night in general and the accoutrement that San Antonio FC and Spurs Sports Entertainment put on?
So I've thought about this for a while here. You got to give San Antonio FC credit. First couple of years, they did not embrace Pride Night at all, despite the request from the fans. I believe it was Bree. I don't remember her last name. One of the sales staff that put together unofficially hey, let's try this out. Ticket and a scarf or ticket and a shirt. I forget what it was. And I think SAFC saw, hey, there's an avenue that, from the fan base to support this. So to see San Antonio FC to embrace it, and I think they really have through their. Because how many times previously did we complain that they really wouldn't take? I don't want to say take a side, but really comment on social issues where they were kind of RGV like. That just the silence was deafening for their hair. So to me, it made me proud to see the improvement from San Antonio FC. To see the fans, obviously I'm not part of the LGBT community, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right here, for that here, but to me, I support them. Like I said here, all means all, and I don't care what it is. All means all, whether it's political, gender, sexual, I don't care. As long as you go to the game and you support my team, or if you go to the game and support the opposing team for that 90 minutes, we may yell and back and forth, but after that, we're all friends. Hopefully we'll be friends. Now, obviously there's some disagreements sometimes, but to me, as somebody that's covered this team from the start, it made me proud to see what they've done. It made me proud, and it's something that we haven't really talked about here, from them coming out with the orange. Wear orange for was it
gun safety or gun violence
gun
awareness.
safety? Not saying hey take away Second Amendments, but hey, use some common sense on things here. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, SAFC would never ever think about doing that. So
Yeah.
I think for me, just seeing the growth and the embrace, that San Antonio FC has to all of us, all the different fan bases here. And I know there's people that will bitch and moan that, hey, my group isn't covered, or, through here. There's no pleasing them. I hate to say that, but to me, like I said here, well done to San Antonio FC and the staff. And like I said here, for me personally, I'm proud of the growth that this organization has made, especially when it comes to the LGBT community, because I think for a long time, they did not embrace them. I hate saying that, but previous years, they did not embrace them at all.
That's true. And we're still counting the days until the Texas Rangers have a Pride Night. So they've never had one. Rafa, do you have any thoughts on this, or do you want to hand it over to Robert?
No, it was, like I said, as far as the evening, it was a great atmosphere. It was a great time. Like I said, it's a we're all same people. We all bleed the same blood. It doesn't matter, who loves who. That's their inalienable rights to do that. So, but like I said, the turnout was great. The atmosphere was great. And like I said, it was great there at the even at the tailgates too. We had fun stuff for the kids and all that. Like I said, no one's pushing anyone's agenda. It was just a great time celebrating. Like I said, also not only the Pride Night, but also the Copa Aztecas game too as well against El Paso. It was just a fun atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Robert?
Yeah, Robert.
I mean, like y'all said, I mean, it was fun to see. I mean, I had a good time. It's neat to see San Antonio FC embrace the whole idea of the Pride Night. Like I said, I had a good time. People had a good time. I even I won one of the auctions for the team jersey. I'm not going to talk about the cost, but I did. It was worth it. It was fun. And then the bunker was lit. I mean, it was great. And I got
Rafa was in the bunker.
I was about to say, I think you stole my thunder. I was going to say, I got standing next to the rock star the whole game. Like the guy that with all the TV cameos. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, it was a good time. Like you said, y'all means all. Everyone's invited. I mean, just come on in. Let's all enjoy the same thing.
Yeah, Spurs Sports Entertainment own RC Buford was in the bunker as well, and there are a lot of pictures of him with the fans, which is great to see. It's definitely not his first time out at Toyota Field during a game, and it's always great to see him out there. So, and
with the FanCast flag too. So
and with the FanCast flag, yeah, we got to make that like our banner or some crap, but we'll figure it out. All right.
What about for you, Royce? You asked us. You never really commented on it.
Oh, I mean, I commented on it with the flag. I talked about the flags, how they had the stuff, all the accoutrement all over. I thought it was great. The
You blended
t-shirt,
it in with others. Yeah. Okay.
right. The t-shirt deal that they had for tickets sold out. I tried to get some a week before the game and they're already sold out. So that's great. Obviously there's the band there. So
So the
like I
rematch.
said, yep. So let's move on.
How are we
to
feeling
the
about the rematch?
I will say real quick. Let me finish it up with, in our sphere, everyone's invited, no matter who you are, unless you're a fan of Lucho Solignac and Stoneman. Then no, you're not allowed in
And
here.
Nate
So
Miller.
No, they're still.
and Nate Miller.
Or Yuma.
that's
Yuma's another one.
Yuma too.
correct. Correct.
It's been-
Oh,
like that sign that Robert had.
No
Yeah,
thanks.
I don't think-
doors
I don't
doors
think
back
they-
there. See ya.
I don't think those H-Notch guys like that sign I had with the Chico Tacos. I know I was getting a lot of birds for that, but
Yeah,
Well, Chico sucks. They need to move on. Anyway, Harry, continue.
So, what do we expect for San Antonio, San Diego, the rematch here in San Diego?
Violence.
physical, emotional,
Payback.
pain. Like-
you know Tony's going to be lit up for this game. You know he's going to want some payback on this, and he's going to try to score as many goals as he can. And he was owning them this last game, so you know he's going to be hyped up for this game.
They had no answer for him. He was all over them.
Yep, he's gonna have motivation. I want to see what a motivated Tanny can do, along with the JD that's in form right now. Could
And
be
with
very
Sam.
dangerous for SAFC.
So, do
And
you start JD and Tawny, or do you start Sam and Tawny?
I start all
Sam and
three.
Tawny. Sam and
J-
Tawny, or
JD
three,
and
three.
Tawny?
Ooh,
I do all
like-
three.
I vote Sam and Tawny.
That means you
or
take
three.
off Hernandez off the field. No,
You can still you can have him as your attacking mid. Had Rita
Who are
as
you
your
taking
holding
out
mid. Boo. You can take out a Boo.
and putting Rita in the middle?
Rita.
Rita's
Rita's
behind.
not a 6. Rita's not a 6. Rita's
But
an
he
8.
can play. But he can play that. If you watch some of the Montreal games, he can play that position.
We'll agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
You're gonna have Hernandez as a 10. You'll have Tanny and JD up front. Rafa's gonna have a different desired lineup.
What about Juan Carlos?
He'll
Yeah,
come from.
I'd
He'll
have
come
him
off the
start.
bench.
You don't start him over Shannon?
No.
I'd start him. I mean, you hit
Because
him with everything.
when healthy, he brings a different level
Yeah.
compared to Shannon.
Offensively, but not defensively.
If he's in shape.
Well, he's in shape. Come
Well,
on.
if he's not in shape, then you got Zico Bailey on the bench.
Well,
He
he's not
hasn't
even
been on the
doing it.
bench.
He hasn't been on the
Hasn't
bench. Him and Tulu were not even.
I'm saying he will be on the bench if you need him, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I just to me, I just don't. Do you go back to Tainer, Garcia, and Bautista for this, or you leave Manley in? And keep in mind, we got a Wednesday match, and then we're off till the following Saturday. I think it is 10 days.
Right. It's a 10-day
Away
break.
match back in California in NorCal with Sacramento. So
I think we do what we did in this one, and you start
Manley.
the same 3: Manley, Tainer, and Garcia.
I mean, I'd rather have Bautista get the yellow card at Sacramento than at the game before. I think he's going to be needed for that Sacramento game.
It's a tough one because Bautista's in form right now. That's
that's
Not
what I'm
that
saying. He's a league
Manley
leader in
played
how
well.
many categories?
Manley played really well in that game, and he didn't miss a step. But Bautista's in form. It's really that is a tough decision. That's going to be an
I
interesting.
mean, another thing you can do is with, like I say, if you do start Bautista, like if Manley's going to come in, he can always come in for Maloney because he does play that same position outside, and he had in the past and be that kind of. That
So
holding
here's
mid.
what you could do. Well,
How that
you still can't, because if you take Abu out, you could move Maloney in, but you still got to bring in. I don't know. I'm glad Coach Marcini gets paid a lot of money to make these decisions.
Randy's got the right idea. That's
It sounds like we're talking like the mind of Marcino. We all have different ideas. That's probably his head every night, trying to figure out who needs to do what.
that's what I want to see is that 3-4-3. We've been lethal with that formation. We have the firepower for that. 3-5-2 is more of a defensive holding, try to transition. I think we need for this game. we need to go after them and put them out of their misery, because we've done it before. We're up 3-0. If you can put more pressure on them, especially if they, like I said, they're playing with their backup keeper who's only 16.
What?
You know,
The other guy
put
was back. He's back. The other guy.
He's back. Okay.
Yeah, I saw him.
So if we can get some goals early on, like I said, we can start killing some of their confidence.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's going to be the 3-5-2 with Tanny and JD up top. But hey, we'll see what happens if we go a little different, just to switch it up a little bit. Maybe we that's not even a funny joke. So we'll see what happens on that one. Here is a reminder, though. We should have really said this on top of the show. We are going to have a virtual watch party for the match on Wednesday. It will be through this platform, which is StreamYard. So you will not need to download any additional software. You can just use your internet browser to get in. You can use your phone if you wish. You can use your computer if you wish as well. And just know that just DM us on our social media accounts, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through Twitter. For the code to get in. It's not going to be an open thing, because that's the last thing we need is for people to spam the whole thing and it to be a failed bit. So just DM us on one of our social media platforms, like I said, Facebook or Twitter. We'll get you that code out when we create it. We'll create it probably a few hours before the match itself, so it's easily, you just click on it, you'll go to it, you click. The first thing it'll do is it'll bring you backstage, and then you just request to go into it.
I'll be able to I can bring on 10 people. We already have one person that'll be committed. It's one of our friendly rivals from Shadow of Der Schattenwolf, who is a former Energy supporter. Picked RGV for some odd reason. Obviously, he wants some taste of winning, so he's going to come on, and
that's cool.
It's cool. It's just kind of, he's a big USL fan over in Germany.
Prost.
Hertha Berlin is his local club over there, and he tweets and suffers a lot because he follows RGV and Oklahoma City Energy. But that's based, and he compounded it by asking him to come onto our show. But hey, so.
He's liking the meme, so
what does it mean to follow the Energy this year?
Yeah, let's move on. So
that's why he's following RGV. It's kind of one the same, right?
Yeah.
There's a question on there by MC.
Any thoughts from the pod on Mike Jimenez saying he was advised against talking about SAFC as much as he wanted to? Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not surprised.
But he also said SAFC and UTSA.
Exactly. A lot of the media here they think that the money really is in Austin and in Texas wide, so they really want to talk Cowboys here. They really want to talk UT here because they think that's where the money is. A&M, Houston Astros. I'm not surprised, and that's not what should happen. I know there was a big press as well when there was a lot of money in it to have Austin FC be talked a lot on the radio at all, and that was to try to bring money because they think that's where the money is. That's not where the money is. If a show
didn't work, right? I know you follow Mike Taylor's show a lot more than I do. I tend to follow the ESPN guys, but
they ended that partnership real quick because there wasn't a lot of money in it, and people weren't that motivated by Matthew McConaughey's clown antics and that spoiled billionaire they have up there. So, and it's also Austin. Nobody here in San Antonio likes Austin. It's the same thing. If there would be a Dallas Cowboys radio in Houston, Texas, who the hell would listen to that? So no, what they need to do, they need to get smarter in town. This is not some small town. And this goes with everything I've always said about San Antonio. This is the one, I mean, you want to say it's a toxic trait. This is the one thing that makes me angry about this town is its lack of self-respect. There's a lot of small town mentality here in San Antonio, and it's always, what's going on in Austin? What's going on in Dallas? What's going on in Houston? What's going on in San Antonio? This city is the best city in the state. We don't need to have an Austin. We don't need to have a Dallas. We don't need to have a Houston. Everything that's going on in this city is worthy of statewide talk. I mean, number one, nationwide, all I've gotten are alerts about Wembyama playing in the league in Vegas, and that's nationwide. He's coming here. Like, San Antonio is a big thing by itself. SAFC, big thing by itself. Sunderland's coming in. We've already had Cardiff City come in. SAFC is a big thing. The missions have had some real top players come through their system.
They need a ballpark.
We got, we need a new ballpark 100%, and they're still working on that. We had a guy get popped for steroids from the major leagues in our city at our baseball stadium. That's a big deal. Hilarious. That was the biggest thing that I'm gonna cover. UTSA is the highest growing team of any sport just about throughout the country. Throughout the country, I would say, going from the Southland Conference to Conference USA, and now they're going to the American, like within not even 10 years of each other. That might be like a 7-year, 5-year stepping stone. That's insane. The amount of competition.
Tatis.
And exactly.
Tatis.
Yeah, Tatis Jr. But UTSA has also won the league 2 years in a row. Like, that is a big deal. They are nationally ranked. There are a lot of people saying they should be number 25 or 24 when the rankings come out. Going from being nothing in 2011 was their first game, or 2012. I was at that game. Time loses all meaning. I'm old. But to go from there that short a time ago, now to be the number 25 or the 24th best team in the nation, insane. And that deserves everything. That deserves a whole city to get behind. And I don't understand why they can, barely get 35, 40,000 people in the stadium. They should sell out that. If you really want football, San Antonio, and you really want to show you want football, pack that stadium for UTSA, because that team and that coach and that organization are more than worth your time. And the tickets are cheap. And the basketball, the tickets are cheap for UTSA. They're not expensive at all. And the convocation center's outdated. We all know that. We need to shout out the softball field and the baseball field.
But shout out to the girls soccer team. They also won the conference championship too. So
there you go. Like, UTSA is worth your time. It's worth the money that people would spend. It's not even that expensive to attend those athletic events at all. And they're top class.
Do you want to kind of make one final comment? We do this show because we love it. Whether it's one person that tunes in or 10, 20, we have probably a good 20, 25 on average, especially if we're consistent, jumps up to about 30 people on average on our podcast. If we as fans want coverage, whether it's Ticket 760, whether it's ESPN, whether it's the Express News, whether it's the Athletic talking USL, we as fans have to be more engaging. We need to be more vocal along those lines. So it's, I understand from the business aspect, and I think for me personally, I think there was other things that were going on with ESPN 1250 and Skip Jimenez, Mike Jimenez for that here. But I do think that if we want the radio stations to talk SAFC, we have to kind of help push it. We need to help, whether it's downloads afterwards, respond, social media tweets, engage on there. And we saw this with the striker, and the striker, they had a lot of flaws. Don't get me wrong, but part of the reasons why they cut the coverage was because there really wasn't that demand from outside of San Antonio. And like I said, you can go into a big reason on why, because it was too Austin centric. I understand that. But as fans, if we want the product, we have to be there to be able to support it. And we need to be, just like going to SAFC, you need to bring your friends, your family along those lines to help promote it.
100%. I completely agree with that. I will say, to be fair to the SA Star 1250, ESPN the radio. Yes. Yeah. Rudy J and Rob Thompson in the morning, they do interview a lot of SAFC players. So, SAFC gets coverage on their radio station more than other radio stations, 100% here in town. But at the same time, I don't know if it's enough. And that would that would be a huge thing for and that's one thing that we've talked about. That would be one huge thing for the organization. That's one thing we've always talked about, is if there's more broadcasting, if we had a local TV broadcast where everybody can watch the games.
Even if it's in Spanish.
Especially if it's in Spanish. What are we talking about? Liga MX.
Well, I don't understand Spanish, but I sure that would be.
You can still watch it. It doesn't matter.
No, I understand.
I understand every other sentence because I'm too busy translating the previous sentence to myself. But if you just have that little bit and that little bit of spread throughout the city, if SAFC or Spurs Sports Entertainment were to end their partnership with the Soccer Factory and were to put their stuff in HEBs and Academy throughout the city, huge, big. If San Antonio FC, here's one big thing that I wish they would do, is have a partnership with either Freetail, maybe Alamo. I'd say Freetail's a little, or maybe even Shiner. Shiner would be even bigger. Have a beer. Have a San Antonio FC beer. That would be huge, and that would sell, and that'd become popular. Make it not suck, please. And that would be popular. That would go a long way. It's just those little things to get the logo out there, to get it out there. And we're talking about this after a championship. We're talking about this in our 8th or 9th season.
Like they could call it like championship lager, like even like
and
the Commanders and the Brahmas both had beer.
Exactly. And to bring it full circle back around to it, it's disappointing to hear that a radio station was trying to throttle SAFC talk, throttle
allegedly.
UTSA talk. Exactly. Allegedly, there's no real, we can't say whether it's 100% factual or not, but it is a rumor out there. SAFC rumor.
Well, no, Mike mentioned it.
No,
on
I know.
Podcast,
I know.
We don't know,
I know
100%.
But we can't corroborate it. So that's why it's a rumor. That's what I'm saying. It's disappointing to hear, and those little steps would go a long way to get this team to where we all would like it to be, especially Spurs Sports Entertainment. It would be great if we could sell out the stadium every night, and those 3 simple steps, I think that'd go a long way. So hit us up on social media. What do you think would be some great steps for Spurs Sports Entertainment or San Antonio FC all in one could take to get the club to get the club out there a little bit more? Is it up to the fans to be the squeaky wheel to get the grease on different media outlets to ask, where's the SAFC coverage? Kins 5 loves to cover Austin FC for whatever reason. And I know definitely a few of us, right? A few of us, it's because they're Tenga, and Tenga is, let's not even go to Tenga media, not worth your time, but go out there and let them know, hey, you're in San Antonio, you're not in Austin. Cover San Antonio stuff. KSAT does a great job of covering SAFC. San Antonio Express News does a great job of covering SAFC. So it's out there. We just gotta, like I said, squeaky wheel gets the grease. But like I said, on social media, let us know what your thoughts are on how SAFC can grow their spread and influence a little bit more.
I will say that's why I listen to more ESPN than I do your station there, just because with Chris Duell, and they did the morning show at the Austin, and then Mike Taylor, he fought it to Mike Taylor's credit, but just Ticket 760 made that decision to, and I understand it's a cost, and we can talk, it'd be an interesting conversation long term on the radio compared to this kind of platform of social media, because to be honest with you, I listen to more shows that are on YouTube now that are just as informative than local radio, and I have my favorites that I listen to, but outside of that,
if there was a local show that would talk more UTSA, that would talk more San Antonio FC, I would listen to them religiously, honestly. And I know at least 8,000 people that go to the San Antonio FC matches, 30,000 people that go to UTSA games, they would feel the exact same way. We don't want to hear anymore about UT and whatever quarterback controversy they have going on. I'm tired of hearing about the Cowboys and how disappointing they're eventually going to be. You know it, and I know it. Let's talk about the success we have here in town and not the garbage that we have out of town. And if, like I said, if a radio station were to do that, if you were to have a show that is a San Antonio sports show, then I would 100% listen. I listen to Rudy J is one of my guys. I listen to Rudy J all the time in the morning. That is the morning show of note in San Antonio.
And he has a soccer background too. Doesn't really go into it, but he does have a soccer background.
Right. So, I mean, 100%. I agree. I listen to Total Soccer Show and the USL show, as well as, you know, there's a couple other USL shows that I listen to as well, and I listen to those religiously. So if you, like I said, bring out a San Antonio sports centric show, I'm listening. I want to hear about UTSA. There's a lot of, I know Zachary Franklin's going to Ole Miss. Like, there's certain things like that I've kind of missed, and I just heard about it. Apparently, this is a saga been going on for 6 months, so I would like to know about these things.
For UTSA and Alamo Audible, used to be the Alamo Dome Audible, but they got the cease and desist letter for that here. But those guys hustle and bustle. They had golf coverage this year. They had, did a great job on covering UTSA baseball. I think they would do a lot more with the basketball if they, unfortunately, UTSA had a basketball program that you could talk about in a nice manner. But, for football wise, like I said here, Alamo Audible, but, and there's a couple others out there. But I do know that
Inside Runner Sports
UTS information. Yeah.
Inside Runner Sports is a great
Inside Runner Sports. But yeah, to me, if you had Javi and the Alamo guys, and I know they sometimes cross mingle, if they did it, a Saturday show or a Sunday show, it would do well. But.
All right. Sorry about that, Rafa. Sorry about that, Robert. Maybe
they're interested in us. We can be the grumpy pundits of SAFC or something.
So we do have to talk to Rafa here, and we got Royce here. There is a huge match coming up on Thursday. USA Mexico. Anybody care?
No. It's going to be 5-0 USA. I mean, what are we going to say?
I don't know. You saw the roster that they put out?
It's going to be 5-0 USA. Yeah, it's embarrassing. So that's what I'm saying.
Dos settle every time.
Yep. Yeah.
Our roster's MLS heavy. How's Mexico's coming in for this? Is it very light as well?
It's a lot of it's young. I think where they're doing is they're taking kind of the same page with the U.S. They're trying to get some of the younger players, and I saw some flashes of it on the last couple of games. I didn't get to see the game against Cameroon, but the other game, I've seen some flashes of it. There's potential there. It's just giving opportunities. I think the biggest thing is, the owners of the, all the teams. I think that's the biggest detriment of the growth of the national team. I wish if they could take that away from them, I think they can do a lot of great things. And like I said, they're getting some of the players, like I said, from Europe, like I think the one Santi Jimenez had a great season with Feyenoord. So that's one of the bright spots there. I think Machin, he did well there with Ajax. I think Dortmund was after him, but I don't know. I think that deal's going to go through or not. It's still up in the air. But it's a kind of like a rebuild, but I think what they're trying to do is get that young talent going, build up some confidence, and then see and then evaluate after this. Because I think what they're focusing on is the tournament for next year, which is a Copa America. I think that's going to be the measuring stick on where they're at for 2026.
Yeah, Rafa, that's a whole lot of words of saying Mexico missed the U20 World Cup and now they need to make up for that experience. So that's a whole lot of words to say that.
Yeah, but at least they won. At least they won the Youth World Cup twice, which the U.S. hasn't done. Then which they should have won.
What have you done for me lately, there, Rafa? Because they didn't even qualify.
They should have been Uruguay, but they did it.
I have to interrupt because we are a U.S.-based soccer show. Hey, Messi's coming to the United States, so. In order to be a soccer podcast in the United States, you got to mention Messi. So we check that box here.
And they just signed Di Maria too, as well.
Did they actually? All of this is once again. I'm going to cover the same thing we talked about last show. I'm going to cover now.
That's a done deal.
It's all rumor. There is no signing.
No, Messi signed.
He signed, But Di Maria, I think
he can't sign until the
done.
end of June. He still has a
he's gonna be
contract with
done.
PSG until the end of June. He cannot sign.
No, but that's pretty much a done deal.
His contract.
He
expires
can't sign
June 30th.
with Inter Miami, but he can sign with Apple and all of those who's actually paying him.
Yeah.
No.
Once again, things can happen. Saudi Arabia can go $3 billion, and then Messi can be off to Saudi Arabia.
Well, they tried to do that with
Not
Modric. They offered him 88 per year, but he signed that 1 year deal with Real Madrid.
They
But he
signed
stayed for 1 more year.
a Saudi Arabian team signed N'Golo
If you
Kante
listen
to
to
$100 million a year.
It's messy, so I had to make sure we got that.
Congratulations to MLS.
Now the other hit is Mbappe threw the curveball today.
He's going to Barcelona. Yeah, we all know.
Hey, but to tie Messi into San Antonio FC, Coach Darren Powell, the assistant head coach,
100%.
1 seat away from coaching Messi.
And he will be on the field with Messi coaching him. That's to be let go from the SAFC job. And I mean, salute Darren Powell, our first manager. Did 4 great seasons here in town. He gave us the magic that was the 2017 playoffs. I'll never forget Billy Forbes winning that PK and Ever Guzman putting it in.
You can sign a contract with New Side on Bosman if the negotiations and confirmations are within 6 months of a contract expiration.
Yep.
Like I said,
Bam!
Hasn't happened yet, so it's not official to me. But anyway,
let's get back to the 5-0 US. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, I mean we can do it. No. Salute Darren Powell. Darren Powell's now number 2 in the ranking of coaches.
Till the end of the year.
And he's going to coach.
He's under Tata Martino.
So that's what's going to happen. They're probably going to bring Tata, and then we'll see what other Argentinian stars they bring in. Okay, let's put it this way. We'll see whatever roster rules that Don Garber decides aren't useful anymore.
Whatever when does Don Garber follow the rules?
Correct. That's the whole problem. We'll see what Don Garber decides.
The MLS.
Like,
I mean, the Don Corleone of the MLS.
It'd be like Batistuta. All those guys are coming back.
Yeah.
Hey, I know we got to get going here, but we do have to ask Robert this question. What the hell happened to Cook in Minnesota? Why would they release a good running back that was the star of the Minnesota offense?
There's a couple reasons. Like, Cook's been known to be half man, half season for the last 3 years, so he's always hurt. And it does come down to money. Like, honestly, it's cash. And the running back and linebackers in today's NFL are not a super valued position. They replace them because nobody runs the ball anymore. You got to be able to catch the screen and stay healthy.
Cook can catch, so that's a little bit different.
When he plays. And I'm not saying he can bring you some splash plays. He's like I want to say he's equivalent to Barry Sanders, but he's similar. He'll get you -3, 1, -3, and then an 80-yarder. You just got to it's not consistent enough, but.
All right, well, we're at the 4th quarter, and it's a high-scoring 71-70 with about 12 seconds left. And Denver's struggling offensively here, but let's see if they can close this out here. So, Royce, Rafa, Robert, if you want to close us out, because I want to watch the rest of the finals to see if Denver can bring it home, something that Minnesota cannot do.
Is Harry going to be driving down Commerce?
Yeah, honking
by himself. Yeah, that'll be a good look.
They'll be like road rage. Next week, I will not be here. I doubt I can get permission to do a podcast while I'm on the adult vacation in Vegas. So you guys will be in charge of doing the podcast next week for that here. So if there is no show, blame Rafa, blame Royce, blame Robert. I will not be part of it, unfortunately.
So that means blame Harry. That's correct. It's called Father's Day, and we're not going to have a show next weekend. We'll have one the weekend after. We'll cover the rematch of San Diego and the other match that we have coming up. But is it Sacramento? Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Sacramento, not Sacramento.
Sure you want to do that? Not one later on? Because
it's fine.
No
it's fine. We'll cover both. We'll be all right.
We can do the after game right after the.
Oh yeah.
We could.
San Diego.
We could do one Thursday. Yeah. We could do one Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. Look at us producing on the fly. So for Rafa, for Robert, for Harry, what's life without goals? Good night, everybody.